What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of 2xTheGrind. We're back at it again. It's another Wednesday for you guys, and we're halfway through the week. I hope you are soldiering on like we are. Weeks are long nowadays. We're still at home. Coronavirus is still very much real.
It's a good day to put out an episode.
It is a good
Wednesday.
day.
Something to look forward to.
It's a nice little half week.
Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays
right?
and Wednesdays.
Look,
the best day.
coffee can get you through anything.
That's right.
Though. That's what I say. This coffee this week is from Beanbox once again. But of course, you guys don't need Beanbox to order some of these. You know, you can find them. They're different types of coffee from all over the world. The reason why Beanbox is so wicked is because you can order tons of different ones and sample ones, so you can try it out yourself and see which one you fancy. This one is a Herkimer coffee. It's a Columbia Rose Bourbon. That already just sounds
good.
So good, doesn't it? This coffee is so sugary and bright, you'll swear it's a cup of pink lemonade.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Because
really?
That's a very interesting first liner of a coffee description, because if I wanted pink lemonade, I'd go buy pink lemonade. I wouldn't really buy a coffee.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be good.
Anyway.
By the way, not sponsored by Beanbox. We just have a 2-month supply. Shout out SJ.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of coffee to get
sister.
through.
I say our sister, my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's my sis.
Soon to be.
Soon to be.
One day.
Oh gosh.
Not really.
Wait, what? Not really?
Well, not really. Because I say soon to be, that means we're engaged. You know what I mean?
It's not on the right finger.
Someone the other day tweeted me congrats on the engagement.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't.
We get that a lot.
That's what I mean. That's why I said
and
soon to be, but not really.
This is what I always tell people. Yeah. We're not engaged, because you know why? You would know 100% sure. I would be screaming it from the rooftops. There'd be pictures. It'd be a time.
Oh, that's good.
He's already trying it. We
haven't
even finished the description. Anyway, continuing. An initial burst of lemon lime and ruby grapefruit mellows into a clean, sparkly finish. One sip and you'll be seeing the world through rose bourbon coloured glasses. Anything?
Yeah. There's a rose colour everywhere.
Notes. Okay. Pink lemonade.
Yeah.
Elderflower and lime zest.
Interesting.
So this is going to be quite citrusy then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, try it though. I don't
Okay, here we go. This is my first sip of it. Legit first sip.
I like it. Do you not like it?
No, I do.
Oh, okay.
I can't taste anything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The same thing.
When
I don't taste pink lemonade. It's just a good cup of coffee.
I'll tell you what it does do though.
I can hear you trying to taste stuff.
Sorry, everybody. Block your ears. You know what it does do though? It doesn't give you that real kick at the back of your throat a really bold, strong coffee does. It's very smooth. Yeah. It's really nice. I wouldn't say I feel like I'm drinking pink lemonade. I'll have to guess twice about it.
Yeah.
But I don't taste very
I read
citrus
this
notes.
one, and I didn't read the description, but I just saw the notes say pink lemonade, elderflower, lime zest. I was like, huh, that's interesting. And when I tried it, I thought the same thing. I was like, I didn't get any of that. Which
when you're brewing it, did you smell anything like that? No.
It smells good. It tastes good, but I don't get any. Maybe it's labeled wrong. Imagine.
No, it's not labeled wrong.
No, I'm just joking.
It can't be.
No, it can't be.
I really am not getting any of that through. But it's what I can tell you. It tastes really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. It just tastes like a really fresh, smooth cup of coffee. It's the kind of coffee you could drink 5 cups of.
Yeah.
Because it's
not so strong.
Relaxed.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of what they're saying on the description. It's very mellow. It's clean, sparkly finish, kind of like a soda has. You feel refreshed. I do feel refreshed after a sip of it. To be fair,
it's very
this
summery.
will be gone within the first 10 minutes because I really like this.
It's very summery, which I guess is kind of like what the description is kind of saying.
100%. I
just don't get the notes.
That ice would be really nice.
It would be really nice. I just don't get the notes that it says though.
Yeah, I'm not getting any.
And I've been pretty good.
Or pink lemonade
so far for every single coffee that we've had, I feel like I've picked up on what the notes say.
Do you want to know a fun fact about pink lemonade?
Yeah.
Brought me right back to when I was little.
They have pink lemonade in the UK.
Oh yeah. Best pink lemonade, I think, anyways, in Waitrose. That's a UK supermarket. If anyone watching,
I know what it is.
I know you know what it is. I'm letting everyone else know. It's pink lemonade for me. When I was growing up, I grew up in a boarding school, and it's funny because we used to go to the shops every now and then on a little weekend. All of us girls go to the shops up the road, and we'd go to Waitrose. And literally all week I'd been scrounging pocket money to buy a big bottle of pink lemonade.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's like
it used to be the thing. Pink lemonade.
What's like a brand? Can you think of one? Because I can't think of one either.
I can see it in my head,
yeah, I
the
can
brand.
too, but
I can't remember what it is, but it had one of those lids where it had like a metal latch, and you could pop it off and it'd pop out, and then you could pop it back in and close the latch again. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Keeps it fresh. No? Okay, whatever. Anyway, I used to love that.
Yeah.
So like reading Pink Lemonade to me just reminds me of like literally
childhood.
All week counting my pennies to go up to Waitrose and buy for like £3.
Yeah.
You know, £3.50. Go and buy this pink lemonade.
What's
I
like
would sip it all week, like
what's
just
like
every
a,
drop. I used to love it.
What's like a coin in the UK?
A coin?
Yeah, like because you do
Pennies.
pence, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like 25 pence, like here that'd be a quarter.
Yeah, but the thing is, we call it p.
P. Yeah, I know, 25p.
25p, 50p.
Yeah. Okay, so nothing like no names for it. Like in the US, like a quarter, a dime,
we
a penny.
got £2, £3, 50 pence, 60 pence, 25p,
No, right. So
1p, 2p.
Okay.
It's all the same. Yeah, it's all the same.
Is it in Canada?
But they all look different. All the coins.
Is it in Canada? They're called loonies and toonies.
I know. I mean,
The first
it's like Roger Rabbit.
The first time I ever talked
that.
to like Royal 2 and Royal 1.
Roger Rabbit runs Canada.
Matt like said something. You know, I don't remember the context of it. It was so long ago. We've been teaming 10 years, you know. He said something about like, Chris, like, do you have a loony or something like that? And I was like,
huh?
What? What? Like, what?
I've never, I mean, it's bizarre though, isn't it? That is a weird thing to call currency. Anyway, it's kind of cool though.
Anyway.
It's different. Anyway, welcome everybody. So today we're going to be talking about a few different things. We're going to be touching upon CDL Stage 2. We just had week 1 of Stage 2. It was the Toronto Ultra Home Series. We're going to be talking about the big shocks that happened throughout that week. We're going to be talking about some of the roster changes that we've just seen coming out of that first week. And really just discussing, you know, what we think of it, as a whole. Is it good decisions, bad decisions, where we think this will, you know, allow the teams to flourish, where it may not help the teams, etc., etc. So we're going to dive into that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Halo. We're going to be talking about the double elim that happened finally for the pro
Short
players.
amount of Halo.
Not a huge amount to talk about, but still a bit. And then we're also going to end up on social media. And talking about social media, you're watching us through probably social media through a link. So we're going to deep dive into social media, what it means, the good, the bad, the ugly about it, how it really does shape people's lives nowadays, coming into the new generations as well. So yeah, I would love you guys to tune along with us for the ride and let us know what you think throughout the entire conversation. You know, leave your comments if you fancy, leave a timestamp on you know where you're discussing this stuff with us. We love reading. We read every single comment. And we appreciate the support and the love.
We think it's the coolest thing in the world
so
when
cool.
people like watch and then like comment what they think or like what we talk about. I love it.
Me too, because I feel like I'm talking to you guys and with you, which is really cool. Anyway, let's get cracking on it. So CDL Stage 2 has kicked off. We obviously last time discussed the groups and what we kind of thought about it, who our underdogs were of each group, and we really got to see quite a few teams now in action. So very interesting coming out of that. And I think the first team I want to discuss is London.
On the board.
They're on the board. I said this.
Took 3 roster changes to get there, but on the board.
Hey, look, it's got to happen. You got to change it up somewhere.
They had a rough situation.
It's not even just about the roster changes for London. You know, it's been really rough. A lot of things have happened that are out of their control, out of their hands.
Trey.
And they really struggled. You know, even Shawnee said to me in the interview, because I had a really heartfelt conversation with him on air, which was awesome. And, you know, he really said it's been a major struggle because of stuff that's happened behind the scenes that they can't, you know, they have no part of. They can't control it. And it hasn't allowed them to practice the way they want to because things have happened last minute. And that's kind of the world we live in, isn't it? You know, things happen and you can't control that, but you've got to do whatever you can to continue and move forward.
Keep pushing forward with it.
And really, I just felt like it was the justice they deserved. They finally got something on the board for them. I feel like they deserved it. And not only did they win, but they won in a 3-0 fashion. And that was huge. You know, coming on, you know, PaulEhx, the rookie, came onto the London Ravens. Do you know what? I actually said that on air. I said, "It's a good name, Paul." And I think I said to Nameless in the Green, I said, "Hey, all Pauls are pretty good, so I'm expecting big stuff out of this. You got to live up to the name."
Yeah.
And boy, he did.
Yeah.
He was the dominant AR we wanted him to be. He picked up a bunch of slays. He really was a game changer. And I think, you know, rookies, it's funny because I say rookies and it kind of sounds like I'm not giving them the credit they deserve. Like, I think that name rookie kind of sounds so... Like, do you know what I mean?
It's not how it used to be.
It just doesn't sound like...
It's not rookie is such an old terminology, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I get it because like he's a rookie in the league.
I like debut so much better.
Yeah, like debut.
And then after that, I don't really love talking about them as rookies because once they've cemented themselves,
they've been playing
you know,
so much.
Yeah, and it's weird to call them a rookie. So long. But technically, they are rookies in the league. However, you know...
Like Shotzi, like think about it. Shotzi was like a rookie. Like he won Rookie of the Year, right? He was a rookie. He literally won like 4 Halo events, one of them being a world championship. You know, arguably the best player leaving Halo in 2018. He goes to Call of Duty like, yeah, he's a rookie. You know, like yeah, all right.
But you know, I think what is really cool about these rookies is them literally bringing the coolest, freshest, new vibe. This is no pun, but an insight, because obviously insight is one of them as well. But that fresh insight that they bring to the team is so freaking cool. And you know, it was funny because I was listening to the Flank last night, and so were you in the background. But I was watching it, and you know, it's interesting hearing Method's take on rookies and kind of, you know, what they're capable of. And he says like they're all nasty, you know. They really are just ridiculous. Like they bring so much to the table, and it's more about how you kind of can allow them to do what they can do, let them go, you know, like go for it, just, you know, do what you are here to do and show us what you got, but also be able to kind of tame them down in certain situations. And I think that's where a rookie and a vet go hand in hand really well, and especially if the guy coming on is, you know, susceptible to grow and improve, and not only that, but fit in with his team. I think there's so much that comes in with a rookie coming into a team.
Most of the people that are playing in challengers and stuff now, especially at a top level, a lot of them have that capability. It's just the aspect of what you're saying of, you know, you need to be able to, it's a learning experience, and you need to be able to be led and told what maybe you're doing wrong, where when you're playing in challengers you probably don't have that. So it's just a matter of the good players making their debuts that are going to stick around, or those guys. And I mean, I don't, you know, honestly, we saw 2 great performances from Insight and from Paul. PaulEhx. I'm just gonna call him Paul, my boy.
Your boy Paul.
But you know, how long they stick around for and what teammate they become is going to depend on that.
Definitely. Based on his performance, what did you think? Because obviously it's you know,
I think
they won 3-0.
I said this to you as soon as it happened. I think he cemented his spot. Period. He did great, and he got him on the board. He will not be replaced for probably until changes are happening later on.
Yeah,
next game,
he's
whatever.
He's made history, hasn't he, for his fans and for London, because not 0-6 is just, and again, tough times, you know, rough, but 0-6 is just madness, isn't it, when you look at it stat wise? And it's upsetting for a lot of people, especially like that team,
a lot of fans, players. It's
really sad, and because you're working towards something and you feel like it's just not working, no matter what happens, you just get thrown another thing your way. But he's come in and he's literally turned it around with the team, and I think like that is going to be in the forefront of people's minds now from now on. It's like 100%. How could you ever drop PaulEhx at the moment? I mean, come on.
100%.
But I was super impressed with how London played. I thought it was absolutely excellent.
I'm interested to see how they do the rest of the way. You know, winning 3-0, your first match with a new player, and they beat Rokkr. They beat Rokkr, who clearly struggling. So I'm happy for them because I'm glad they got on the board. I think PaulEhx is going to be irreplaceable now. You know. But they need to carry that momentum. It's easy to honeymoon when you first bring in someone. You got to keep it going. But I think he's around a good group of guys. You know, I think he's with some experienced players and everything.
Go on that Call of Duty League schedule. Let's just double check actually who it was that they did play. I just want to make sure. No, up a bit. To the left. No, up. Yeah. Toronto Home Series. Do you see it? There. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So double checked it. I did think it might have not been Rokkr, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah.
But it is LAG that they played.
Yeah.
3-0.
Rokkr lost to Florida.
And the reason I think the reason why I was so shocked about that 3-0 is because LAG, let's be honest, in the major, they had a pretty decent run in the major.
That's even more impressive though.
Yeah,
beating LAG.
exactly.
Because that's what I was gonna say. Like, oh, you beat a struggling team. It's kind of like Florida. Like Florida came out and beat Rokkr.
Yeah.
But Rokkr now make a team change, and you're kind of like, how much does it really matter?
Have a look at match details. I kind of want to see
on
what the scoreline was. Yeah,
this one match
on the
details right
yeah.
here.
We're gonna have a quick look at the match details.
Beating LAG though, they're a solid team. You know.
Oh, I know.
Like you're throwing yourself up to probably.
You got Apathy. You got so many. You got a ton of names on LAG that are performing. Is that a chopper?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a chopper, everyone.
Pretty. I mean, really only the control was close.
Yeah.
250 to 189 game one, not really close. 6-2 S&D.
Yeah, I mean the control can be a little bit tough sometimes, but I mean they've done pretty well to close it out that way in that fashion. And let's be honest, by that control point, LAG would have been like, turn it on now.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, we're stuck. We need to.
We're match point.
Yeah.
Like we need to turn this around. So they probably went ham, sweat mode on control.
Game 3 is one of the hardest.
And I'm guessing App probably would have really tried to get a bunch of kills. I wouldn't be surprised if he had the highest KD
when
on
you're
that
up 2-0 on a team, winning game 3, it can be okay. It goes two ways. When you're up 2-0, if you won game 2 in like a heartbreaker, game 3 is easy because they're usually somewhat deflated, and you can just like carry your momentum because you're hyped up. When you win the way they won, like a 6-2 S&D. Game 3 is usually one of the hardest ones to win because it's so do or die, kind of like what you said. Yeah,
absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, big stuff from PaulEhx. I think really cementing himself on the team and really impressed with what, he came into. But, we have another thing to talk about. I think, for me, we also need to quickly touch upon Insight as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Toronto, home series, they start out with their new team. Very bizarre move to me because I think overall what I'm going to say just to open the section up is methods was not the problem. Bringing Insight in was great because he's fantastic.
I mean, but
methods
can I just say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't drop Bance.
I know.
Period.
I mean, I was say methods. Nameless says that.
The only thing that I could think in my mind, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is maybe it's just a role, like, maybe replacing Bance with Insight doesn't necessarily fix. Maybe that creates a role issue on the team. I'm not 100% sure, but that's kind of where I lean towards. Otherwise, I don't understand it at all. Bance, I'm sure he's a capable player. He's been a pro for a really long time.
Yeah, Ben has definite, skill.
But he's been struggling. He's been struggling
Very
in
much.
this game, and then you replace someone who wasn't struggling.
Yeah, at all. Actually
so
carrying.
It makes the coaching aspect and the decisions behind it really interesting, which we'll talk about later on with some of these other changes. But I'm just wondering at what point, like if they keep struggling, I'm just wondering.
You know how we had a discussion as well, Paige, that it could have been something to do with the dynamic of the team. It could have been relationship-wise. It could have been something else. Well, based on what Methods had said, genuinely, like openly, wasn't anything wrong with the relationship there. He literally said like they're super close and that he was so upset that he didn't talk to his friends and anyone in the Ultra Center for 2 days. Yeah. Because it came out of nowhere for him. Yeah. He was so upset that he literally he said he couldn't bear it. Yeah. Because there was no problem. And that's why he was so confused. And that's why he literally, I think in his tweet as well, said, I don't know what to say or do. Because he's like, why? It made no sense at all to anyone.
It's interesting because esports is moving. We can kind of talk about it slightly now before we dive into the other topic. But esports in general, with the franchise format and stuff like that, it's moving away from player-based decisions. In the past, right? Like when we were on, I'll just say like some orgs that I've been a part of, like CLG and Optic, even with Sentinels, right? Like we have always been the ones who made the decision, right? Like when we replaced Ogre 2 with Lethal, like that was our choice. Nowadays, in really most games, with especially franchise-based, organizations are stepping up and because they have coaches and analysts and XYZ employee who it's their job to try to figure it out, and I think they're stepping in over players, and that's it's interesting because we're hitting a new dynamic of esports, especially for console. Like, I say console, but Call of Duty now, it's the first time that's really been a thing.
Yeah, and you're spot on with it. That is very much how it's made up currently, and you can even see that for yourself, based upon even the Rostermania that's just happened, literally on Tuesday, and the way that is
Monday.
also was it Monday?
Today's Tuesday.
Oh, today's Tuesday. Yeah, we're filming for tomorrow. Oh, numbers, stupid. But that happened literally yesterday.
Yeah.
And you can already see how it's presented to you. You got a coach, you got a manager,
GM,
or whatever it is,
coach, GM,
whatever they are on the
it.
team, and they're presenting it to you.
Yeah.
So, it is very much seen as a decision collectively by the org.
Yeah.
Which brings us on to talk about actually the roster changes that we have seen, so far, and then we'll talk to you about some more of the games. But let's just quickly talk about the roster changes while we're here.
Yeah.
That have happened. Venom in, Temp out. LA Thieves, obviously this team. Don.
You want to go break it down?
Yeah,
one by one.
I think so. I mean, Don obviously, getting benched. I think it's a shock to a lot of people because I feel like Temp is such a household name now, and he is a great player. But if you actually look at the stats, and I know stats aren't absolutely everything, but if you do look at the stats, I mean, overall KD, he's got 0.96, right? It's the lowest in his team. It's not fantastic. But for me, the S&D was where it really kind of...
0.89.
Yeah, 0.89 S&D. And when I spoke to Nameless about this, he kind of mentioned to me that he knows Don pretty well, and he was just quite a hesitant player when it came to LA Thieves S&D. He was just quite hesitant, but which is kind of funny because the way that they played in New York the other day, I know they got reverse swept, which isn't ideal, but in the S&D, I feel like Temp was great, and he made some big plays and big pushes, and I saw him do some really huge stuff with like flanking B and helping aid, Slasher.
It's like game 2 or game 5.
That was game 2. Yeah. That's how they won.
Yeah.
They literally won the final round.
He was making great plays through it. Yeah.
2v4 final round of game 2, him and Slasher, and then obviously the rest of the New York Subliners team. And at the end, he had a one-on-one with Clay, and he clutched up. It was great. Yeah. So I think it does come as a bit of a surprise.
You think it's a good change?
That his S&D is that bad.
Potentially is a good change.
Yeah, I think it's the only change that they could have done right now based on how people are performing.
Yeah.
I think it was the safest bet, and they've also kept their core 3, haven't they?
Yeah, so I think that this is their last chance,
right.
LA Thieves. Like, for that core 3, I said it, you can go back to, I think it was the first episode that we talked about it. I said I didn't fully understand them sticking together, but you know what? Maybe they're going to have the swagger to them being on LA Thieves, and, they're going to make it work. And I think I said, like, they started with this like weird 4-0 that people weren't really predicting, and it's like, okay, so are they the real deal or are they pretenders? And they were pretenders for the first major. Like, they weren't good for the first major, and you could see the change coming because of how much they're
For people watching, what is a pretender? What to you makes a pretender in a team?
Pretender is just like, they're 4-0 to start stage 1, and they're going up against Dallas, and you're like, man, they can hang with these top 3 teams.
Yeah.
But then they play a top 3 team, and it's like, oh, they get 3-0'd by Dallas. They go to the major, they lose to LAG in the major, round 1, and then they play Optic, and they lose to Optic, and you're just kind of like, it just wasn't there, But when they're leading into it, you're like, oh, wow, they could really do this. But it's like, no.
You said that so early on. I remember when you said that to me.
Yeah.
It was way before their streak of winning. And I remember you saying that to me, and I was like, really? Because they look really good.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, trust me. So there was something going wrong there.
Yeah.
Something is still going wrong. They brought in Venom.
Could be the fix.
Venom actually, funny enough, teamed with PaulEhx in Challengers.
Yeah.
He's won 4
Challengers
Cups.
They're picked one by one over there.
Just off in different places now. But won 4 Challengers Cups. And he's an AR. So I think in terms of the team dynamic and roles, Kenny obviously picking up the sub with the new meta, and it's working really nicely for him, actually. Kenny is doing really good with the sub, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing.
That wise been pretty good.
Yeah, been very good. And just... like the way he moves, and just you can just see he's just happy. He's just happy, and you can tell that comes across in his gameplay and stats. So he's been frying, but TJ's going to run a flex, I think.
Slasher AR.
Yes, Slasher classic AR, obviously. And then Venom's going to come on as an AR himself. So
It could be the fix. Like, I've said it all along with them. They have every potential to be an amazing team. They got great players. Like, Slasher, I think, has, in my mind, been one of the best ARs, period. Maybe not, like, this year, per se. But overall, like, his skill is there. And the skill for all those guys is there. They just have to put it together as a group. And maybe having this, I don't know how old Venom is, but for the sake of calling him a rookie, the young kid coming in, maybe it's the change that they need.
Yeah,
maybe it's the honeymoon, but I do think it's the last, for me, I think it's the last chance. I don't think you're going to bring in someone new, not have it go well, and then try to convince me that, like, oh no, we need someone else again.
I have heard that Venom is nasty.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. Yeah, neither do I. I'm excited to see it. But based on, like, obviously we're talking about that, I'd like to quickly talk about another big shock that we had. NYSL reverse sweeping this LA Thieves team, which ironically has led to them making a change.
It was the dagger.
Yeah, it really was a dagger in the heart. And Venom hopefully pulling it out and patching it up.
I don't even know how, like,
how did that happen?
I don't even know how LA was up 2-0. Did you watch, like, I was going to say, did you watch? Of course you did.
Yeah.
LA versus Toronto. That was some of the sloppiest gameplay I've ever seen. Did you see the insight? Like, I know he 1v3'd a couple times. Remember
it was one of the worst
1v3
search and destroys I've ever seen. It was all round. It was terrible. The communications from LA Thieves were shocking.
Did you see the almost 1v3 that like I think it
that
did it that he almost had that would have I think extended it, right?
Yeah.
That was to win it. They went, it was a 1v3 and it looked literally like not even Challengers level.
I know.
Like strategic play. They didn't go for a trade. They just won by one. I was like I don't know. And that's why, now...
That reminds me a little bit of the Dallas match, their S&D in that 0.1 second.
Yeah.
And that bomb went off and there was only 0.1 second to defuse it and didn't get it. I mean...
It was the dagger, though. Now, they led to the change. But, I mean, I'm impressed with NYSL either way because good teams find a way to win. And I think NYSL is just kind of continuing to prove that they're a consistent, good team.
Did you watch that final game, that final S&D? New York.
I was competing in tournaments,
yeah,
so I see it on and off.
Let me just tell you real quick. Clayster.
Yeah. Oh, his stats was insane.
He won that entire game.
I think he had like a 1.23 in the whole series.
And I'm telling you right now, that S&D was ridiculous. And you can already imagine what he was saying, but like the camera came to him and he said, "I'm doing this." Yeah. And I was like, he was on it. I've never seen anything like it. He was like on it. He was literally carrying.
How many kills did you drop? Do you remember?
No, I don't really remember. But it was, I think I don't really remember because I don't think for me it was really about the kills he was getting. It was more so like what he was doing. Yeah. Like on the map, like he was running around and he was just like
just shredding.
Yeah, just team killing. Like, and it was just like
Jesus.
And he was fine. He'd had enough. He got to that second S&D and they're 2-0 down and he was like, I've had enough. Like, that's it. We can do this. This is awful. I know how to do this. Like, listen, let's go for it. And they did. So it was so impressive though. And he didn't want to in the interview say that it was all him. But he literally said it on camera. Yeah. He said, I'm doing this. Yeah. And so, but I appreciate the humbleness from Clay, and he gave me a great interview, and it was really cool to like have that insight on what he was doing.
Are you concerned that they could go down 2-0 versus LA Thieves? LA Thieves on the brink of making a change, basically. Obviously, this was the dagger that made them make the change, but clearly stuff's not going right.
No, see, I'm not.
Yeah, not concerned.
I'm not concerned because to me that's more of a reflection on the Thieves than them. Let's be honest. Compare their teams together. There's already an opinion here on LA Thieves. They shouldn't be sitting or floating at 5th or 6th. Yeah. Like, people look at that caliber team and are like, no, how are you 5th or 6th? Yeah. Like, there's no way. You should be top 4 at least. You should be playing with the, at the top of the big leagues here, and it's just not happening for them. So
it's really kind of NYSL versus LA for that fourth. That top 4, isn't it?
But I think NYSL still have a long ways to go. Yeah. In terms of solidifying their team and really kind of having a, I suppose, like a certain, I don't know, ego about them, because I don't think they've quite got
they're just
that.
the underdog.
They haven't quite got that
Yeah.
solidified team
They're
yet.
the underdogs still, like in every
they're
match.
still learning. They're
Yeah.
still trying to like figure out each other, I think, as well, and kind of where they stand. And I think that's more so a reflection on LA Thieves in that series than them, because LA Thieves let themselves down.
Yeah.
There rather
2-0,
than
you got a chance to close it. You don't.
Yeah. And then Clay just popping off.
When does he not though? You know, he without his emotions with stuff is so cool to watch. Like as a fan, as a player, I don't like it. Like I don't. You know.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do it myself, and then even I always think like we kind of talked about this. I think it's better to have less emotion as a player, but I got to give Clay his credit. Like he's been that way his whole career, and it's never like he doesn't play. He's an emotional player, but he doesn't play bad based on emotions. Yeah. And I think he said something like, people saw he was down 2-0. I think he was down 2-0 or maybe he was up 2-0. I don't remember. And people saw him doing like a breathing technique. And people were like kind of like memeing him about it. And he responded being like, you know, like that's me literally. I've been doing that for like years. Like it's me calming myself down. And it's like,
the thing is you do this for a living.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But it's cool.
Come on, people.
It's cool to see that, like, even with as hype as he gets, he knows how to, like, bring it back.
Like, what is that? Let's be real. Yeah. Okay, everyone watching. You cannot tell me that you do not get tilted by video games. You cannot tell me, because I'm sorry, then you're a liar. Yeah. Like, you do. Yes, you do. You
or
can be...
you need to seek a doctor.
Seek a doctor for, like, just in general life advice, because you are getting tilted by anything. It could be anything. Yeah. But, like, the fact that one of the best players in the world can, like, admit, like, he gets tilted. Everyone does. But, you know, the fact that he does it for a living, like, I'm no wonder the dude's got to calm himself down. I would. Oh, my hell, look at me at pubs. Like, my desk is in risk of being broken every single time I play. Like,
she's not being sarcastic, I promise.
It's just how it goes. But, no, you know, I think that is such, like, that's such, like, a cool move from him to be like, So I'm literally calming myself down, because that's how I am. Yeah. You know, everyone deals with things differently. I deal with fits of rage when I play. You know, I slam my fists on the desk.
If anything,
but he has to like literally bring it back in, because if he takes it too far, it'll affect him.
It's cool too, because like for people who maybe are more emotional players, it's someone you can kind of like look up to. You like the cup of coffee? How you finished it? You said it. Yeah.
I said it'd be gone.
It's cool because like people who are a little bit more of emotional players, they can look at him as like, that's what I need to replicate that, you know, because he's an emotional player, but his consistency and his gameplay speaks for itself to where it doesn't impact him.
Definitely. You know? Yeah. Talking about big impacts though, let's talk about, you know, another team change that we've had that hopefully will be an impact to the team, which is Rokkr. Now, it's not a shock that Rokkr are changing things up after a very, I would say, a flat kind of run, you know, in the last couple of weeks that they've had. It hasn't been great, has it? Team's been suffering, results have been suffering, and they've finally taken the plunge to change things up, which actually I bet was really tough for them, because, you know, it's one of the things that we discussed right at the beginning.
Double 3-0.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yes, they got donated twice. But, you know, I think for them, it probably was a really tough decision, because they came into the league, and I remember like a key talking point that I had and it's been stuck in my head forever, is that their roster on paper is wicked. Like, it's such a cool roster on paper. Like, they're so talented. Their roles are like almost dead on, like perfect. But it's not working. So it's so roles, strange.
Like, okay, so on paper, they all fit perfectly.
Yeah,
like no one had to like change up their role. Nope. But the problem is they play a very different game than what other people play. Like when you watch like Simp and Abizi and, you know, RCDs and Celian play, like the speed that they play at, Rokkr do not play at that.
No.
And I don't necessarily think you have to, you know, but it was pretty obvious early on, like, you know, we've talked about it before, it was pretty obvious early on that they were like a slower team, and they just couldn't make it, they weren't making it work, you know. The only thing that they had going for them was like, oh, our S&D game is good, you know.
I think I totally agree with that. It's something that just wasn't working, was it? Just not fitting in. And I don't even necessarily think it's just their gameplay, but I think it's just something, because for example, like they've got Priester on the team. Priester's used to that fast-paced like attitude because he's played with,
Yeah.
you know, with the Tiny Terrors. You know,
Yeah.
he was part of that legacy with them on FaZe, and he's now moved to Rokkr. Had to probably slow things down a little bit, and he's not really playing that true to himself, I suppose. So maybe that's kind of what's happening with the rest of the team, that the way that this team comes together and the way that they produce their Call of Duty play is just not exactly the end result you need in the league. It's not working against the other teams. So it's either like you have to switch things up as a whole team, which I'm guessing they probably tried to do that in stage 2 and it hasn't worked again. If anything, it's got worse. And now it's back to the drawing board and replacing somebody, which unfortunately is Major Maniac. Now,
I'm surprised.
This is unusual because you look at stats, right? And again, stats aren't always the best kind of like way to visualize what a player is capable of, because there's a lot of things that can go into a game in a series. But I mean, consistently, Priester hasn't really been doing that well.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's got the lowest stats in his team. Overall, he's at a 0.85. His hard points are 0.89 and S&D are 0.85. And then the biggest one, Control, which is a 0.79.
I guess the hope with Priesta and leaving him in is that they want to play faster, and maybe they think that he will be able to help that. Because maybe the reason why he's struggling as much as he is
like
what you just said, of
suppressing.
I think that accuracy is a slower AR. I think Major Maniac's a slower AR. The only reason why I'm surprised that accuracy wasn't benched over Major Maniac is because I think he overall put up better stats than him. But Priesta and Major Maniac obviously teamed last season, and I mean they got second and champs.
Yeah.
So it's like clearly like there isn't this lack of being able to. I mean, you had Simp and Abizi on your team and selling them, so don't get me wrong. Like that'll help you, but it's not. There's not some lacking part on between them, you know.
Yeah.
But they, didn't work, and now we got a Standy.
I really don't know anything about Standy at all, so I can't really comment until we do see him play. But something that I will be doing towards, you know, coming back up to week 2 is I'll be watching a lot of VOD from Challengers, and I'll be watching Venom and Standy perform. Probably also a little bit of Insight as well.
Yeah.
Just to try and see some more VOD from him, because I feel like, you know, it's early days. You want to kind of see them as a whole and see their past and present. So for me, it's a good way to kind of understand a player a little more.
I'd be interested to see how players feel about these changes. You know that?
I heard it all last night.
I know, but like, because it's so based on management and coaches and stuff like that. And you don't have to like comment on this because I don't know how harsh you want to be, obviously. But as a player who isn't managed, like for myself, right, I'd have a really hard time going somewhere that other people made the decisions for us. I don't know. It'd be really difficult.
What do you think about it in terms of like the sport
style?
So it is a sport style.
So like what they said yesterday on the flank when we were listening to it is it's moving to more of a traditional sport, which is coaches make the decision, management make the decision, which I don't hate. I like it. I like the idea that players are a little bit more removed from the scenario. But I think that for a lot of like older players that have always had the say, it has to be challenging to kind of like take a step back and be like, it's out of my hands now, you know?
Yeah. And I guess that I don't know how this works, but you don't get a choice of where you go.
Yeah.
Am I guessing? That's probably right as well.
At the moment, yeah, like if you get benched, like you're just...
Yeah, like for example, if a team wants to pick you up and you're all like,
you got to wait for buyouts and stuff. Like it's a complicated. It's not like it used to be. It's a complicated process.
Yeah,
now.
it's complex. Yeah. I mean, it's tough, but like I think the good thing about all of this, like the one positive thing, I think, because it's never nice to see a player get benched. It's it breaks your heart for them.
Yeah.
But again, you do want to see a team improve, I think, overall, and choices have to be made. But I think the one really good thing that happens is obviously Challengers is a fantastic platform for amateurs to come up to the pro level. And I think it's really cool that Call of Duty's introduced this kind of way to get new faces in town. I think it's really awesome.
I think Challengers is the best from my perspective, I think that Challengers is one of the best ways to become a professional player, period.
100%.
And the progression that you've seen through CWL to CDL, of CWL, people were picking up like academy teams.
Yeah.
And then now obviously they're doing the same, but now it's franchised. It is so tough as a professional. Like from when I wanted to go pro, right? I love everyone I teamed with to death. We talked about this in a past episode. I think it was literally last episode. But it is so tough to find equally skilled people that are going to help you break into the top 16, then break into the top 8. And you got to get kind of lucky that you're going to come across the right people that want to team with you. And all of a sudden, but with Challengers, there's a give and take to it, because it's a little bit, I think it's a little bit more on the selfish side with Challengers, because you're all trying to make it to the top.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily need to win everything in Challengers to get noticed.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect of it.
I love that too. And then more to your point about it as well, which I think is really cool. I think this is what Challengers does really nicely, to try and obliterate that portion, because there is a level of selfishness there. And I think that comes with anything when you're trying to get to the top of your level at anything. It just happens. But what I love about Challengers is the fact that they have such a fantastic prize pool available as well all year round, where it's, going parallel to the league. So not only does it open up available players in Challengers to come up and become these new roles on the rosters that are very much needed, but it also helps the players in Challengers to really also focus on something, to have that team dynamic, to try and progress towards something bigger, which is a prize pool, and to play for something. And I think it gives them a purpose without it always just being about the next step for them. It also gives them that competitive purpose. So I think it's absolutely incredible. And if you think about how talented every single one of our rookies are, I mean, we have like our graphic, and I show it almost every single time. Not that it's my decision what graphics we show, but it happens every time. And we have a rookie graphic, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And you literally see how good these guys are. There's not one of them that is bad. Like, they're all so good. So it's awesome that Challengers are producing the goods here for the league. And I think it's a really amazing way of getting new people involved and new faces for the future.
Agreed.
It's really, really cool. I love that.
Agreed.
I think that's everything for Call of Duty this week, pretty much. What do you guys think? Let us know. What do you think of the changes? Obviously, Rostermania is happening. Could continue to happen this week. Who knows? We'll be watching out. But what do you think of the changes? Anything that you would have done differently yourself? What do you think of it? Are you excited to see these new faces in some of these teams and the league? Do you know any of them from Challengers? Do you follow Challengers? Are you a big fan of Venom or Standy or anyone? Let us know down below. But we're going to move on to Halo. So, my love, this is very much your domain here. Obviously, you've been playing in a couple of Halo tournaments here there for the Pro League. Talk to me about it. What's been going on from your aspect, because I have obviously been a little busy. I have been following because obviously you're playing. I appreciate it. But talk to me. So double limbs come your way finally. I don't
want to talk about it too much, because there's not great. We kind of cover this. There's just not great things to say, and it sounds like that's like a big. It's not. I don't want to come off as like complaining, I know. But so they changed our tournaments to double limb for Halo 5 finally, after 8 months of people complaining about it. And like most people are like really happy about it, and I'm happy because I think that it provided a great tournament and great entertainment. But on the flip side of that, like I just don't get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't understand like how you can complain for 8 months and then randomly out of nowhere, like they tried making a change and people were like even more mad, and then they changed it later on. And one of the reasons that I think, and it's kind of like my own conspiracy that I've worked up in my head, is I put out a tweet. They tried changing the format from what they're already doing to something worse, and I made a tweet about it, and MLG Adam, you obviously know who I'm talking about,
Esports
replied to it and was like, wait, what? Like, what are they doing? And I explained it to him, and he didn't reply. He didn't say anything. But then 2 days later, this thing was changed. And he's not Esport Engine isn't working on what we're doing right now. But I just imagine like it has to be a bad look when they're coming into the scene for Infinite, obviously, and all the players are sitting there just unhappy.
And it's not even just unhappy with the game itself, because obviously that's also brought some
that's a separate issue
too.
Yeah.
But just unhappy with the way that it's actually even being programmed, just like how your bracket works and just the stuff that is in their control completely.
It's moving in the right direction, but it's like you want to feel like happy that the change you wanted is made, but then on the flip side of that, it's like, well, it's almost like a slap in the face, because it's like, why now? Like, well, you could have done it so long ago. And then for me, it just feels like I've been complaining, and I do try to do it through the proper channels of like tweeting people, like DMing people or texting people and yada yada, and changes don't get made. I finally put out one of probably like 4 public tweets. Let's be real, probably more than 4, but about the bracket thing, about the tournament format itself specifically, probably like 4. And it got the right person's attention. It's what it comes across as. It's like it got the right person's attention, so like now all of a sudden it's changed. And it's almost like I just feel like it's a little bit of a slap to pro players. And then it was a great tournament. It was a sick double elim. Cloud9 goes through, gets their first win in the Pro Series, double elimination. Good job. We beat them in winners bracket. They beat us losers finals, game 5.
Yeah.
Credit to them. It was great. The other issue that we ran into, because it's just our lives and that's just what we're dealing with, is there's been really bad lag on Halo 5. Any of you guys who watch, you've probably been dealing with it like I have for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
How you can allow a competitive tournament for any amount of money to be held on what we were dealing with is really bad. And the worst part about it, not 1 ounce of acknowledgement until like 2 days after the tournament.
Okay. What was acknowledged?
Finally, the community manager named Unishek replied, saying a guy went and got all the clips over the past couple days that has happened to him. Of like, you're like, it's like really bad. So you've seen it. I showed you. It's like server lag.
I haven't just seen it. I was watching. Yeah,
you like all of a sudden you'll be playing and all of a sudden the game freezes and you just like lag off the map.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously not.
Or just like it's all
your
sorts
shots
of
aren't
things.
registering.
Shot registration.
Yeah.
The movement, the lag, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Like blood shot.
So he replied to this person who like came up with these clips, being like, "Thanks so much for submitting your clips. Make sure to submit a support ticket to yada yada yada." And I was like, dude.
That was the acknowledgement.
That was the acknowledgement. It wasn't like, hey, we're working on this. It was like, make sure you submit your clip. Hey, thanks so much for submitting this clip. It's like, gonna have the team look at it. Can you please submit it to here as well? And it's like, dude, this has been happening for like a week and a half. And you just held a $5,000 tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment too much about it, because obviously, like, I love Halo and I do want to be involved in the future, however that may be.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult, this topic, because you're holding the tournaments.
Yeah.
You're watching the tournaments.
Yeah.
You can see it happening.
Yeah.
And there is lack of acknowledgement of it.
The only reason why we're even bringing this up is because we've had people say stuff to me, say stuff to you, comment being like, we really want Halo stuff covered. And I just want to make sure you guys know we love Halo.
Yeah.
We can't wait for Infinite. We can't wait to talk and praise say everything great. But this part of the segment was more to just explain why we don't talk.
We're not talking about
a lot about what's going on, because every player
we
feels
don't
kind
want
of
to just sit here and
it's not a bash
and talk negatively about something that we do love in the long run. We love it
exactly.
And it it's something sad, and also it is your livelihood, so it's sad for you. And he does get very much affected by it. It's something that does really kind of like either make or ruin your day. It's what you love doing.
I put out a tweet on like why I'm like how this stuff now is stressing me out more than Infinite will. Yeah. And someone like replied being like, why stress? And it's like, dude, like, this is literally like my life, like this is like how I make my living. This is my life. It's what I professionally care about. And then on top of that, it's you're having all these people. And it's not Halo's fault. I know that I understand the delay. So I don't want, let me say that now. I 100% understand the delay of Infinite, but like, imagine like you're in your career and you just need to hit the pause button. Yeah. And it's like, that's it. Wait a year and then you'll be back. And for a lot of people, it's like, you got to make sure you're good in a year. You know what I mean? Because that's a problem. That's not a problem, but that's a thing in gaming. You got to make sure your skills are up. So, we don't want to bring negative to the podcast ever, because we love Halo. And honestly, I think that our worst days are behind us. I'm fully confident in Infinite and Esport Engine and all the orgs jumping in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, this, I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it.
No, I know you wouldn't. I know. We probably, if we didn't have anything at least good to say, we probably wouldn't have said anything at all. But hey, good job on the double LM.
Thank you.
Well
Finally
done.
got it done.
We got it.
Got it done for people.
Nice stuff. But yeah, so do you know what? It's funny because our next topic kind of comes hand in hand with this, because a lot of this stuff is really done on social media, and that was something that we wanted to touch upon next. Social media is it's a rough world sometimes. It can be very, very overly positive, but it can be very, very overly negative. And I think it also creates a platform where people aren't afraid to tell either their opinions or even just stir the pot, because it doesn't matter. You can't really tell sometimes who people are. Yeah. Other times you can.
I hate social media. I'll just say it.
Yeah, it's funny because our whole life is surrounded by social media, and it literally is our job. And it comes part and parcel with it. But then
what
again,
was that saying? Comes what?
Part and parcel. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Have you ever heard that saying before?
No, it's a UK saying, but like parcel is not
part and parcel.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but all right, go ahead.
You've never heard that before?
That parcel, no.
I say that quite a lot. I'm about
people
to say
over here. It goes like hand in hand. That's what people say.
Yeah, part and parcel. It's like, okay, guys, I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but I don't call it post.
Yeah.
No, I don't call it mail. I call it post.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I am. Who am I anymore? I call it post. Like, check the post. Anything come in the post? He's like, huh?
No, I'm not. I know.
Yeah, you got used to it, but the beginning, though, you're like, huh?
Okay, the beginning, whenever we obviously like were first talking, and even just like as friends, it was very much like, wait, what? What does that mean?
I know,
like,
oh my, it's so funny. It's you haven't done that in such a long time, or vice versa. Because apart till just then, till literally just then.
No, but I knew, like when you said it, I knew.
You know what it means.
I knew what it means, but like I just thought it was funny because most people listening probably are like, what? Like, what did she just say? That's why, and I just thought it was funny.
If I ever say anything wrong now, forevermore, it's a British thing. Just ignore me. I know. If I ever mispronounce something, that's British.
That's British.
British people are like, nah. No, it's not. So it's funny that we haven't done that in a long time. We haven't had to
No, I know the language.
I've
decoded everything.
We haven't had to put that into Google Translate.
No, I've decoded everything.
But talking about decoding, social media is so hard to decode. Jesus. Social media, it does come with so much with it.
Good and bad.
This is how I see it, right? It's weird because it's really changed as well over the years. It really has changed. It hasn't just become a platform to update people what you're feeling or what you're doing that day. It's really started to become quite political. Yeah. It started to become quite intensive, intense, become a livelihood personal, for people. Very personal. Yeah. It's become career enders. There's so much to it now. And I think the main one I kind of really want to talk about is Twitter, Instagram. That's the kind of the main two that I'm definitely on. And it's tough because let's put it into like a perspective. Okay, let's say you got someone who's big. We're not going to name any names, it's just going to be hypothetical here, but someone who's huge, massive following, really used to people giving them love, the gas, the premium gas, always on their side, really for them, and has been for a long time. I feel like that does produce an ego for this person. The whole life is being accepted, is constantly being told that they're amazing and self-assurance. And then suddenly you do one thing wrong, could be the smallest little innocent thing, and that flips. Everyone hates you. Suddenly you're getting hate, death threats, terrible things that are happening, and
she's not talking about like cancel culture or anything like that, by the way, where people do something actually bad. She's saying,
I'm talking about like literally the smallest thing,
they just don't like something you say.
They don't like something you say, or or your opinion on something, or whatever it is.
Not something you say, because that sounds like it's like something. I'm
not talking about anything to do with like genuine problems, like racism.
No. It's like your opinion on something stupid.
It's not something actually terrible, because that's completely different. But something very small where it's just who you are,
Yeah.
and suddenly people don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
People do not like that at all about you, and suddenly they hate you, and it's an overwhelming feeling. And that ego, that self-assurance that you were leaning on for however long, that was really pushing you through your goals, has suddenly gone and disappeared, and actually you're getting the opposite feeling of feeling completely alone and feeling like everyone doesn't like you around you. That is a really tough thing to deal with as one person. As like literally as a human being. Like we actually said this morning, you put it really well actually about how you are not made to deal with something like that.
So I'll like kind of repeat myself. I basically said like human nature, like at least in my mind and what I think, like I don't think that your thoughts and opinions, it's been for the better, obviously, because the amount of positivity that now has come from social media and being able to meet people across the world. But like you are not meant to receive mass amounts of good compliments and mass amounts of negative, right? Like for the most part, like pre-social media, you were around like your friends, your family, your coworkers.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you tried to take the good from that, and that's who you'd be with most. And occasionally you would receive the negative person or the negative, whatever, and the negative situation, and you would normally try to remove yourself from that situation.
Yeah.
But with social media, it is an impossible.
Yeah, or you can face it up front.
Or you can face it up front and address it and whatever. Mm-hmm. But with social media, it's just one of those things. It's an insane amount of it does an insane amount of positive. You can receive an insane amount of positive, but then there's the negatives to it, and it's tough. It's tough on people. It's tough on mental health.
It is really tough, and it's also brought, I think, a new angle of cyberbullying as well, because obviously that had its own craze at one point when with the uprise of MSN back in the day and stuff like that, and the fact that you could speak to people online more, and the cyberbullying that happened because it kind of came from the aspect of school, or collective groups at a young age, and what you would say to them in person is very different from what you could say typing online. Because you don't have you have something very separate between you. You have a wall of miles, of however many miles you are away from someone. You can just type whatever you want.
I think that side of it is what I have the biggest problem with social media, is like the comments. Like people, and we know this, you guys know it, right? People are so confident saying stuff behind a keyboard and a monitor.
Keyboard warriors.
But the problem with it is like, it's just, you have to try to, like, look, even if you're watching this, right, and say you type the odd troll comment, you just have to realize like the effect of what your comment could have on somebody. Because everyone thinks like, oh, I'm only joking, but everyone also knows it's so hard to get that point across on a text, especially across Twitter, where I don't know you, like I don't know that you're joking or whatever.
And you also don't know what other people are going through.
I put out like a picture of me at like 11 years old, like, it was like a funny post, right? It was a picture of me at 11, like holding up my MLG pass. Like I got people like messaging me saying like, you like, oh, like you're so fat, or like you were so fat and yada yada. And I was like, first off, like I was 11, like, so I'm old enough now and also don't have an issue of like I don't care, right? But like imagine if you said that to someone who has like a body image issue, right? And it's like, obviously I don't, but it's like, why? Like, what goes through your mind to think like, there's an 11-year-old kid, it was a funny post about like my first event, like destroying the FFA bracket, and you follow that up with something negative about me.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. It's half the time it's usually a reflection on them, because they're obviously insecure about something to do with their life, and they have to kind of portray that on other people to make them feel better, and that could be a subconscious thing to them. They don't know they're doing that. But I mean, this is where I struggle with social media, and I've said this to you so many times, because I do receive a lot of hate. I receive an awful lot of good, with a small amount of hate, which I feel very lucky about. Inappropriate comments. But what I would say about it is, it's very hard for me to understand sometimes, because I can only understand what I'm capable of. I can't understand what other people are capable of or feel okay doing. So I struggle to look at it, because I sometimes come up to you, don't I, say, this person said this. I'm not upset, but this person said this. And I'm like, why would you ever say that? What would bring you
That's
to want to say that to people?
You started taking my advice on just blocking people.
Block
never
everyone.
Never
just
see
to
them
warn
again.
everyone watching, you know, like not that any of our viewers are like this, because honestly, we love you
we
guys.
have positivity.
You're amazing. We love every single
Well,
person.
we're all about positivity, and the people, you know,
Yeah.
you guys watching, listening, like I think you guys relate to us a lot. Of, you know, we love talking to each other. We love talking about gaming, and people really relate to that in a positive way.
But I really did take your advice with it, especially with my career. I see one thing I don't like towards me or someone else.
Yeah. That's the big one.
I block them.
Towards someone else.
I block them.
How you will speak to someone else says volumes to what you could say about me.
Somebody, I had a Twitter post a little while ago, and a girl commented, really sweet girl, commented saying something about Optic. And it wasn't bad. It was just an opinion.
Yeah.
And somebody, I won't repeat what they said, but they, not only did they insult her, but they insulted her body image, her femininity,
over Call of Duty,
everything, literally over an Optic thing. What they said was disgusting. I'm just gonna say that it was horrific.
Yeah.
I immediately reported and blocked it immediately, and it wasn't even to me. It was to someone else. That kind of stuff, like I cannot stand. That's actually worse. I'd rather you say it to me than someone else, like via my platform. Like that just made me. I was so angry at that.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been angry about a comment in a while, but that to someone else, it was, for me, I don't know, it was just too far, because I couldn't protect her.
It changed my view on social media in general when I started, because I block a lot of people. I'll say it, I don't care.
Plus, I think it's how to deal with it for me anyway.
I started blocking people. It doesn't matter if you have even not said a word to me before in your life. If I read something that I'm like, that's disgusting or that's awful, you're blocked.
Yeah.
Because if you'll say it to someone else, then I don't even want you to see what I'm saying or my opinions or anything. And it's almost just like a clarity thing, isn't it? You know, where it's like
I just don't want to see that. Yeah. I just don't want to see that negativity. I don't want to see it.
And you're taking away that person's availability to you to doing it again.
Like I would never want to let somebody just like roam around freely on my profile saying that to other girls and other people who don't deserve that. Like it's just not acceptable to me. Yep. So like I just get rid of it entirely, and honestly it sits well with me. I sleep easy because I don't really see it anymore, because I think I've blocked so many of the bad ones that I just don't see it anymore very much. That changes a lot when I go live on broadcast, because I can't control that in a chat situation. However, on my personal stuff where I'm interacting with people, I can sleep easy.
That's something that like I won't name names, but like streaming platforms really need to figure out. Yeah. Because there's a mass amount of hate and inappropriate conduct in chats, on streaming platforms. Yeah. And I don't know. It's crazy that they haven't like really kind of started. Obviously, you have moderators who ban it.
Well,
but
you kind of said it the other day. It's really hard to.
Yeah.
And we literally saw why, because people find ways to get around it. You don't have to spell a word that way to know what they're trying to say. It's
see, I have a harsh view on this. Like Royalty and I always joke around about it, but I think that it takes away like, I don't want to say it takes away rights, but I guess like in a way, it's like you need what did Royal 2 say to me? Royal 2 is like make these platforms that you can only have one account, and it links to you. It's a picture of you, and it's but like that,
like your driver's license photo, basically. Like something.
Yeah, and you can only have one account, but that goes in like it's a little like joke, but it goes into like. That goes in like security issues and privacy issues, but it would stop a lot because when someone says something dumb, one, you only get one account, so if you get banned, you're done. And then the other thing, obviously, is like so many people are so confident to say something to you about your game or your physical appearance or whatever it might be, and the reason why they are is because you don't know who they are, and you can't say anything. No, but I don't even like that, because I don't think that you should rebuttal back with a negative, you know what I mean? Yeah. I just like the sense of you get one account, you're banned, you're done. Yeah. Yeah. But obviously, like I said, it's more of a joke because that's security issues and privacy issues. But hopefully one day we live in a world where it's not a problem. No,
and it's funny because I feel like we have kind of more lent on right now the negative stuff, but social media does come with its positives. I think in terms of the world we live in, the movements that are occurring around the world, I think it's awesome that we can use our platforms for good. I think it's awesome that the flow of people that can follow you who mean well and can see what you're producing or promoting. I think it's awesome that we can, with a click of a button, share something to hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Because I think that type of spreading for good is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like anti-Asian hate crimes right now is such a big thing, and something that I have posted quite heavily about on my social media, because I do feel pretty kind of, I feel stressed out about it.
Yeah.
I want to stop it.
Yeah.
I know that I can't do it on my own.
Yeah.
But the fact that I can share that with people.
That's one of the positives of social media, is
Yeah.
it bands people together.
Yeah.
And in this case, in a positive way of stopping something negative. And, you know,
Yeah.
that's...
And
it's easy to focus on the
it's other movements
bad
too.
part.
Black Lives Matter, you know, the equality for females, you know, all sorts of different things that can happen around the world and are happening around the world currently. Being able to share those, being able to learn, being able to read experiences and learn from that, and know what to watch out for certain other things. You know, Sarah Everard back in the UK, you know, safety of women around the world, the fact that it's happening in so many different places. There's so many movements and so many experiences that can be shared.
So many stories, like,
that can be shared that you wouldn't have known before, that can educate so many people. And I think it's so important. But then again, that does come with those people who see these experiences or movements and have something to say about it, something negative, because they can.
Yeah.
It doesn't always mean that they actually believe it, because this is what I believe. I sometimes believe the hate and the negativity that comes on social media, sometimes the people writing them, I'm sure, don't even believe half the stuff they're even saying.
They're just being trolls and
they're just
dumb and want attention.
It's clout.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but it's just
it's
wanting
seeking.
the attention.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sad. I think that's a sad truth of social media, and I think that I would love to see that start to fade out and die out a little bit. I don't know if it will, because I think a lot of people's careers are made around attention, and I think it's showing the younger generations that that's how you get somewhere sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of, I feel there's a lot of online personalities that are all about that attention, that clout, that whatever the words are. So,
Difficult.
It's a lot of good with a lot of bad. I feel like that's just a balance of the world currently.
Yeah. Be mindful of what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, be mindful, be the change you want. You know, if you want people to be positive of you, be positive to others. And I think it's really as simple as that at the end of the day. You know, treat others how you wish to be treated. I think I learned that when I was like two or three.
Does anyone really want to be treated badly? Like, come on.
Nope, they don't.
Come on.
No, they do not.
So go on. Just like, yeah. I think if you can take that motto, treat others how you would like to be treated yourself, this world would be a much nicer place.
And I think, absolutely. And I think one of the things, kind of like closing remarks on it too, is, you know, just because you view something in a positive way, when you see something negative, not saying something can be a negative. So, you know, be positive, you know, treat others how you wish to be treated. And when you see something that's wrong, defend what's right.
Yes.
Because I think with social media, I think that's such a big part of what is happening with this stuff, is like, you know, with the negatives of social media, is that there's so many people that probably actually view it the correct way, but they just don't, no one speaks up. No one says, you know, people don't say stuff, people don't do stuff. And I think that's really where we're at with social media.
I think you are allowed to have your own opinion.
Yeah.
I think that is damn right. You know, freedom of speech, that is 100% where it is. You know, you should and can have your own opinion. But I think if your opinion is going to seriously hurt someone else by saying that opinion,
don't say it.
Don't say it. You know, like if it is to the point where you're like literally discriminating someone's race, age, or gender, or you are body shaming, you are just personally attacking someone, that is not an opinion that needs to be shared. That is different. That is a genuine personal attack, and that should not be aired. That voice doesn't need to be there. Keep it in, suppress that, okay? Tell your friends in person.
Seek help.
And seek help. But if it's an opinion
on
something,
because like if you see someone post something and your first thing is like comment something negative, like I'm sorry, like I think you probably need to like see a therapist, because I don't know about you, I've never once gone to Twitter and seen someone post something and be like, oh, let me reply with this negative comment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, no.
I know it's very strange. Like people like can say stuff like, oh, I just hate her.
Yeah. Don't
say it then. Why are you saying that? That's not a genuine like opinion. Like why are you saying that?
Yep.
You don't need to say things like that. It's just
Agreed.
That's just not. You don't need to hear it, okay? But like, you know, if there's something you do disagree with in the world, and I feel like everyone can read situations. Come on.
Read the room.
We can all read the room.
Read
here.
the room.
Read the room.
Yeah.
If you want to disagree, you can disagree, Hans. That's fine. Go ahead. That's okay. People have opinions. But I think when it comes to personal attacks, it's very different. Keep that in. Keep that in. And like out the window. Just scream it out somewhere else, into a pillow, please. Like, just don't bother putting it, for the world to see. No one needs to see that.
And like I said, seriously though, if you want to comment personal attacks, there's something that you need to address with yourself. Because I actually think it's a serious problem that people are having, that they have no problem personally attacking others. And if it bothers you that badly, like obviously there's some cases where you'll understand why, because it's someone who maybe isn't doing good for the world, and that's why you want to personally attack. But still, like it's a slippery slope to go down, talking negatively about other people consistently.
I think this is also quite, before we end this, a straightforward way to put it. For example, when we talk about team changes, roster changes, and roster moves on the Call of Duty League, on the podcast, anywhere that is aired publicly, you don't find us saying this person is horrific, they're a terrible player, they do this, they do that, they're awful for their team, get them out right now. That is never the case. It is more so their numbers haven't been that great. I can kind of understand the team change there. But, they're really good at this. They're really good at that. Maybe this is something that's in the team, a dynamic problem. This is something here. They haven't got the right role. There is, you can discuss things openly and have an opinion about who you think should have been dropped, or who you think should have been benched or come in as a replacement, without being personally horrible to someone.
I did that with Bance today.
Yeah, you did.
I said, I don't know. I think that he should have been the one replaced. But then I also followed it up with, like, he's a fully capable player. He's been a pro player for a really long time.
Something's going wrong somewhere else.
And
you talked about role changes. And I think that is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
You have your opinion, but you just don't need to be horrible to that person personally. I just think that's how life should work. And honestly, if people could follow that, not that it's ever going to happen anytime soon, because there's a lot of people out there. But that is how the world...
Be the change you want, though.
Yeah, I think so. It starts with one person. It's a domino effect. Hopefully it can happen one day. I'll sit here and wait.
While we drink our coffee. Speaking of coffee.
Oh, hello, host.
I know.
Little
I'm
segue.
learning.
Well, I'm out.
You are.
But I can rate it.
Yeah, what would you rate it? Go ahead.
A 10.
You rated a 10?
Yeah.
Really? You loved it that much?
I really did.
I'm going to go 9.
Can I have some?
You can. It's a little cold now.
It's okay.
10.
Yeah. It's good.
The first ever 10.
You know what it is as well? I think it's more situational for me sometimes, like how I'm feeling, because it's very sunny outside right now. The sun is shining. We took our dogs for a really nice walk just before we came and did this. And you're right, it's a summer coffee for sure. And you know what I was going to say to you? Halfway through the podcast, I got to the end part of my coffee. I started tasting pink lemonade.
Really?
No lie. Like, no joke.
There you go.
So what I actually want to do when we get downstairs, I would actually like to have a black cup of this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a black cup of this, and I will tell you because...
She just wants another excuse to have another cup of coffee.
I will write on the socials what I think of it at the end, and what it was like in both, cream and sugar and black. Yeah. Because at the end of it, I did start to taste some kind of citrusy, sweet, pink lemonade. It was weird.
So you're going to try black coffee.
My eyes were like,
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try it black just to see if I can taste any more of those notes further, so I can, tell you guys what is really going on in this coffee, because I love this. I think it is delicious. It's super, super smooth. It is fresh. Just like I said, it is very fresh and I don't know, sparkly. Yeah. I guess it's just really clear. I really like that. So I'm going to give it a 10. What are you giving it?
I said a 9.
Oh.
Yeah, highest
that
rating.
Is a high for you.
I feel like I agree completely about the situation thing. I almost feel bad for rating the other coffees on winter days, because I just feel like I was super harsh. But we'll see. We'll see with the next episode if it continues to be high ratings or not. Because I think this is a good cup of coffee. Yeah. The second I tried it, I was like, this is good.
This is a good
I don't taste the notes at all, but it's good.
Well, actually, another thing before we go that I do want to say, something that's really cool we haven't actually shared with you guys yet, but 2xTheGrind podcast will be moving locations at some point, and I'm very excited to kind of just talk about it, because I can't wait. So we'll have a similar type of looking setup, so everything will come with us, but we're actually going to be moving the setup to our basement, and our basement is currently being done.
When it finishes,
we are finishing it.
Yep.
And it's basically going to be like a ginormous gaming room, basically.
Movie and gaming,
that kind of thing. And this is going to have its own little studio area for us to just literally come and jump on and sit down and talk. And I had to share with you guys because I'm so excited.
It's a little bit early to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, we're like a month out maybe. But I'm still, that's only like 4 episodes-ish. So I am really excited about it.
You don't want to shock them with a change.
They're a family. I wanted to tell them how excited I am because I didn't want to just be like, ta-da!
Yeah.
Like, I want to share the excitement. And, I think what we're also going to do, what I'd like to do is share some pictures of it on our socials with you guys of it, kind of before the transition, after, so you can see like how much work really went into doing our basement. And I'm so excited about it. I just feel like we're going to be living in there.
So check out the social media to see the updates as they come.
Yeah, they're in the description below. But yeah, guys, let us know what you think of the episode. We touched upon a couple of different things there, but it got very serious. And I think I want to hear from you guys too. We love reading your comments below. Let us know what you think of social media in general, because I'm sure everyone has an opinion on this. We're all on it. You guys have literally clicked on it to see this video, I'm sure. So let us know what you think. Good, the bad, the ugly, everything else in between that comes with social media. What you love about it, what you hate about it, what would you change? Would you get off it completely if you could? So yeah, let us know. But it's been an absolute pleasure, as always, bringing you episode 6. I hope your Wednesday is as beautiful as you guys are, and we'll catch you in the next one. So, as always, stay on the grind.